Hi, guys. I wish I could actually be there in person, but my brother's going on a mission to Australia with his wife. And so I'm going to be at a farewell while you guys are watching this. I very much wanted to be part of this presentation because it's so important. And I just said, well, I would like to record a video since I can't be there, and I hope that's okay. If you really listen, it has the potential to change your life. And now you hear things like that and you might kind of roll your eyes, but I'm totally serious about this. The things that we're going to talk about changed my life. And it's something that as I coach adults, so many of them would say, why didn't anyone tell me this sooner? They're really sad about it, actually, because they realize how powerful the concept is and how it actually does change their actions, which changes the results of what's happening, which changes the future for them. You have the benefit of what we'll call compounding interest, which is the longer you know a principle and apply it in your life, the greater the ripple effect, the positive ripple effect will be. So, have you ever heard of compounding interest? Do you know what that is? It's a financial principle that says if you just consistently put money into an account, okay, so let's say you open up an IRA account and you put $200 in there when you're 20 years old. Just every month, $200. Every month, $200. That seems like, well, it might seem like a lot of money right now, but in reality, that's not a lot of money. And especially as you start to earn more, it's really not a lot of money. But if you just put $200 away every month, did you know that by the time you're 60, you could be a millionaire and you could retire? $200 a month. Isn't that crazy? So a really small thing becomes a really huge thing because of time. Time compounds the interest that's paid into that account, and it goes like this. So let's make an analogy. The deposit of $200 is this habit that you have: playing video games, reading a book. It could be bad or good, but each time you do it, it's a deposit into the account of your life, which has the ripple effects, the compounding effects that we just talked about. Each of our habits and actions that we take in our life not only affect us today, but over time. What we want to impress on you today, which is you have to stop and think about what you're doing. So today, when you go home and you think about things, you got to think, okay, let me write down when I get up in the morning, what do I do? What's the first thing that I do? Let's get a pattern and write down all of those things and say, okay, what does this action do for future RET? Is it a positive compounding effect or is it a negative effect? Let's watch a video to illustrate the truth of what really is going on that we can talk about.
When your cable goes out, you get stressed. When you get stressed, you need to get away. When you need to get away, you go for something exotic. When you go for something exotic, you get bitten by something exotic. When you get bitten by something exotic, things swell up. When things swell up, you can't go home. And when you can't go home, you become a local fisherman they call Big Fatty Face. Don't become a local fisherman they call Big Fatty Face. When the cable company keeps you on hold, you feel trapped. When you feel trapped, you need to feel free. When you need to feel free, you try hang gliding. When you try hang gliding, you crash into things. When you crash into things, the grid goes down. When the grid goes down, crime goes up. And when crime goes up, your dad gets punched over a can of soup. Don't have your dad get punched over a can of soup. When you have cable and can't find something good to watch, you get depressed. When you get depressed, you attend seminars. When you attend seminars, you feel like a winner. When you feel like a winner, you go to Vegas. When you go to Vegas, you lose everything. And when you lose everything, you sell your hair to a wig shop. Don't sell your hair to a wig shop. When your cable's on the fritz, you get frustrated. When you get frustrated, your daughter imitates. When your daughter imitates, she gets thrown out of school. When she gets thrown out of school, she meets undesirables. When she meets undesirables, she ties the knot with undesirables. And when she ties the knot with undesirables, you get a grandson with a dog collar. Don't have a grandson with a dog collar. When your cable company keeps you on hold, you get angry. When you get angry, you go blow off steam. When you go blow off steam, accidents happen. When accidents happen, you get an eye patch. When you get an eye patch, people think you're tough. When people think you're tough, people want to see how tough. And when people want to see how tough, you wake up in a roadside ditch. Don't wake up in a roadside ditch. When you have cable and your picture freezes, you get irritable. When you get irritable, your work suffers. When your work suffers, the wrong man is convicted. When the wrong man is convicted, he has time to think. When he has time to think, he thinks about you a lot. And when he thinks about you a lot, your house explodes. Don't have your house explode.
Who you become is what you do repeatedly. Does that make sense? So what you have to figure out is, who do I want to become? Who am I in the act of becoming? So we've all seen the movie Groundhog Day, right? And I don't know if we really understand how profound that movie is. Think about how he was approaching this phenomenon that happened to him where he was reliving the same day over and over again. At first, he's kind of a juvenile, right? He thinks, I can do anything. I can eat these donuts. I can manipulate people into doing things that I want them to do. I don't actually have to change my behavior, who I am. I can learn how to figure out what they're going to do because I've already lived this before, and I'm going to use it to my greatest advantage, very selfishly. But then something happens. He decides this is kind of old and lame. I think I want to I'm kind of a jerk. I probably should figure out how to do things that are more meaningful, where I can become a better person, someone that I like, someone that other people will like, someone that this woman that I'm trying to get to fall in love with me would actually be worthy of. He realizes I'm going to just get on with living a life that will shape me into the person that I really want to become. And that was a person that learned to play the piano and learned French poetry. He even learned how to take a chainsaw and make ice sculptures, if you'll remember. It's such a great movie. When you look at that, you think that's so amazing. The reality is you could do the same thing. Now, everyone says, you got to set goals, but let's be honest, goals kind of feels like a boring thing. It feels kind of distant and, I don't know, overwhelming, really. Write a book, get fit, become successful. Sure, how? We're going to talk about building a process that makes the goals that you have inevitable. Remember this, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. If you just started hitting the gym 3 days a week, you will get in better shape, necessarily. Just like we talked about, if you put these deposits into this account, you will become a millionaire. If you really wanted to become a published author, all you simply have to do is block out every Tuesday and Thursday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. and just write. And after a certain period of time, 6 months, a year, you would have enough material to become a published author. So anything that you'd like to be able to do, every goal that you'd like to achieve, you can if you just build it into a system. A lot of us are held back by our own self-doubt. And maybe we lack the belief in ourselves because we've tried setting goals before. We've tried to lose weight. We've tried to save more money. We've tried to watch our temper. We've tried to start reading scriptures. We've done all these things, but in the end, we failed. Or let's say we stopped doing those things. But it doesn't matter if you fail. You can just start again. It truly is just like the repentance process. But we are the ones holding ourselves back. I'd like to tell you this story, and some of you may have heard of it. There was this guy who really struggled as a teen. The teachers thought he was lazy. His family thought he wasn't very smart. He knew he wasn't very smart. He just kind of had a sense. He took his SAT, and a few weeks later, he got his score back, and it was something like 1480 out of 1600, which is super high, right? So what happened was from that moment, everything changed. He started believing that he was smart. So he just thought, oh, well, I'm going to start going to class. He stopped hanging out with the wrong crowd. He applied himself. He got into college. He eventually started a business and became super successful. And then I think you may know what happened later is he gets this, his mom, I think, got a letter from SAT board. And it turned out that they said, hey, we actually sent you an error and your score is actually 740, not 1480. They sent him the wrong score previously, but it didn't really matter. By then, what? He already put in place the habits that made him a successful person. And so that reality wasn't his reality. So it shows that our belief systems can be very limiting, but they can also help formulate a future just because we believe it. If you identify things that you want and you pursue them, it's very likely that you'll end up achieving them. You don't become great by chasing the goal. You become great by building the system. Just become the person that writes every day. Become the person that goes for a hike every day. Become the person that puts money away, who shows up when things are hard. You made a commitment, and so you're just going to follow through with it. Proverbs 29:18, where there is no vision, the people perish. If you yourself, individually, have no vision for your future you will perish. Live your life like future you wants you to live it.